Okay, we are live, guys.
Okay. A very good morning to everyone who is present here on this fine Sunday morning. Welcome to the Null's June meetup, monthly meetup. I hope everyone is safe and getting vaccinated. If not, please go to your nearest vaccination center and do the needful. So before we begin with our today's meetup, let me just give a quick review about a quick introduction about the Null community. So Null is an open security community, and the main idea behind Null was it was started as an idea to share knowledge in the area of information security and to promote and advance security research. And most importantly, it aims to make infosec learning more fun by introducing various types of events and activities in our events. So since 2010, Null is registered as a non-profit society and trust in Pune. So everything related to Null is free and open. It is also very important to note that there is no place for hate speech, piracy, or any unlawful activity in Null. So there are basically two types of events that Null conducts. First one is Null meets, and other one is Null workshops. So in Null meets are monthly meetups that take place in multiple cities across the world, where infosec enthusiasts discuss about security topics. And Null hands-on workshops are periodically conducted free workshops, which are basically of three types. That is offensive or Null Hamla, defensive types or which are Null Bachao, and short skill bridging, which are Null Pulia. So as the name suggests, Null Hamla, it relates to the offensive side of the information security, where various red teaming skills are discussed. In defensive part, which is called Null Bachao, defensive side of the security is discussed, and in Null Pulia, various short skill bridging activities are and events are conducted where a particular tool or some software technology is introduced, which are very helpful in information security. So Null meetups generally last for 2 to 3 hours, and Null workshops are generally conducted for which lasts for nearly 1 to 2 days. Null.community is an event hosting platform of Null. You can find all the information related to Null on this website. And you can also find the previous archives of all the events that were conducted in Null community all across the world. So if you want to refer to an old article or presentation or contact the speaker, you can check out this portal. Null also has a mailing list where so you can join this mailing list to get the latest primary discussions and announcement of Null. Jobs.null.community is another free platform which is provided for the community members. So here all the security related jobs are posted and you can apply for the same. Now, who is a Null community member? Basically, anyone who wants to be associated in any form with us is a Null community member, be it a speaker, an industry professional, a student, a speaker who is conducting this meets, a volunteer, a student, anyone. So whoever is can contribute to this community is a Null community member. So here are the brief highlights of the year 2018 in Null. So more than 120 events happened across all the chapters of Null. Nearly 245 speakers presented, and more than 4,000 people attended meets and workshops around the year in 2018. Null Bhopal took full 2 day workshop on Linux and cybersecurity. Our Null Ahmedabad chapter had CTF challenges to solve during post meetups, which we also do regularly, like we did last time. Initiatives like Let There Be Fresh Blood and Mission Secure Chandigarh was led by Null Chandigarh for students and people to spread infosec awareness. So where are we headed? We are seeing an increasing number of chapters and participation in the community. We have increased collaboration among various other communities also to help evangelizing infosec. We also mentor students from colleges and universities. We are constantly adding more meeting formats like the this one which we are currently doing. uh, we are also recording and live streaming these events as we are cancelled the physical meets for now due to the pandemic. So there are many organizations who are supporting us constantly by providing a space to meet and share knowledge and in other ways too. So some of them are Citrix from Bangalore, ThoughtWorks from Chennai, Sophos and Ganpat University from Ahmedabad, where we usually were conducting our physical meets previously. Adobe from Delhi, OpenText Hyderabad, Airtel from Delhi, Progress Software from Hyderabad, Institute for Technical Education Bhopal, Directiplex Mumbai, Emirates Dubai, Payatu from Pune, and KPN from Amsterdam, and many, many more who are not in this list. A big shout out to all of you. Shout out to other infosec communities also who are doing very great work locally. Some of them are garage for hackers, since info, OAS chapters, defcon groups, infosec girls, and many other communities who are doing great work for infosec community. Thank you to all of you, and a note of thanks to all chapter leads who provide us constant guidance, all organizations and institutions who have supported in some other format in conducting meets, all the volunteers who work tirelessly for ours, for this community. Thank you. So that was a quick introduction about Null community. Now we are going to start with our first session that is going to be conducted by Sam, who is a red teamer at Synec Red Team and also OSCP certified. And he is going to give a session on very interesting topic, which is failures from a not so experienced bug hunter. So this is a very interesting topic. So I would request now Samuel to share his screen and start with this session.
Okay, definitely. Can everyone see my screen?
Just a second, I'm stopping it. Now you can share your screen.
Okay. Can you see it?
Mm, it's loading. Okay, yeah, it's visible. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Can everyone see the presentation?
Yes, it's visible. It's visible, Sam.
Okay, great. So let's do it. Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to talk about failures from a not so experienced book hunter. About me, my name is Sam. I'm a cybersecurity researcher from Colombia. I'm also an offensive security certified professional. I'm 19 years old, and I would say that I spend 100% of my time in Sinag Red Team. I pretty much love it there. And also, I'm a full-time college student for cybersecurity in Baldwin Wallace University in Cleveland, Ohio. And you can find me on Twitter as Caffeine Boons. So, a little bit of the agenda for today. We're going to understand what for you could be failure. Either you are a beginner or an intermediate. Getting back on your book bounty journey, just checking out what you might be doing wrong and just trying to get back into it. And also pretty much sharing my own failures and some progress, and also trying to share other articles from a really good, skillful hunter that actually made me realize the need of this talk, on sharing another some of my findings as well as also a short recap and some last words. So let's start. But before starting, a little bit of a disclaimer. By no means I'm not an expert on this. I'm just another, I would say, intermediate book bounty hunter who actually loves the community and appreciates all the effort for everyone who's actually sharing information here. So for the first time, we have to understand failure because I would say that's one of the most common things that beginners may experience just when starting out. And the definition, you can put it by yourself. Either you find bugs or you don't find bugs. If you find bugs, they may be really low impact or they may not have impact at all. The other one is believing that book bounty is easy money, which is not. People here may know that actually takes a lot of effort and time to get a really good bug and a really good money out of it, and also believing in fast results. And this depends on your background, meaning that if you're a pen tester, you may be more likely to get better results in a really fast return than somebody who's just entering in the IT field. And the other one is not putting enough time into action, which pretty much I would say, if you really want to get started, the single way to learn hacking is by hacking. So just put some effort and action into it. And the other one, just don't be afraid of it. It's the most common thing that may happen. And the best part of it is that you can actually improve and learn out of it. Hell, you get a duplicate. Okay, next time you just gotta report it a little bit faster. Hell, you get a not applicable. Next time, maybe you should not report that bug and put more time into the web application analysis. So, getting back on track in your book bounty journey. But before, let's get this quote from Arthur Schopenhauer that says, ordinary people think merely of spending time, but great people think of using it. So, as book bounty, pretty much I would say is unpaid labor unless you find a really good bug out of it. You have to find a way that you can find a return of investment of the time you're putting into bounties and actually is getting bucks out of it. So therefore, the first thing that I would say once you have experienced some failure out of it, try to recognize some not productive actions that you might be doing. And one of them, I would say that was one of my mistakes in the beginning, is relying on fully automated tools to find bugs. If it's a really huge scope, you may find something using a new clay template, but it may that end up being, let's say, a dupe or not applicable as well. So you can actually put more time into getting better in your skills towards well application behavior and business logic. It would be a better approach as well. The other one is not implementing a mix between manual and automatic approach. Automatic approach is great. Let's say either you want to gather JavaScript paths, you want to grab JavaScript files, subdomain enumeration, that's all good, but you cannot rely fully on it. So I would say you can optimize time by doing your recon, mostly subdomain enumeration, and at the same time try to find a manual approach on the workflow and business logic and understanding fully the purpose of a web application. So there is a really good write-up about this that says fasten your recon process using shell scripting, which pretty much you can have an idea on how to do your subdomain enumeration. And I really have to appreciate Armand for pretty much giving me the advice that for me, in my case, in Synac, was a game changer when I decided to go pretty much in the manual approach and just look in to the business logic and analyzing the workflow and the purpose of the web application and just trying to find different kind of ways to have a malicious impact towards it. And the other one, if you're going to hack and you're going to spend time in a web application, I truly recommend to be concentrated and committed. But for doing that, you need an space and time to hunt. You cannot really expect to hunt, let's say, 40 hours a week. You may get really burned out really quick, but just start, let's say, 2 hours a day where your time is just going to be well invested, either analyzing the behavior of a web application, going with board to it. What happens if you put input here? What happens if you actually change some things here? The privileges of other users. You can actually access to this information. You may not. Just try to optimize your time in this way too with the manual approach. The other one, please connect, talk, collaborate, and learn. Make a fist out of it. If you really like what Bond is not supposed to be a burnout, it's supposed to be fun. Just make it out your own time, like a really nice hobby that you have that you can actually make cash out of it. The great thing is that actually Twitter can help you out to connect with like-minded people. And in this case, I really gotta give a really nice shout out to Rajesh because he has been a really great support in my hunting journey, as also we have collaborated and learned from each other so much for over a year too. There's another website, I haven't tried it yet, and it's called Find Hunters, where people may want to find somebody to learn, somebody to test one web application. And also, one way of learning, I would say, instead of spending too much time in labs, I would say check findings from people who are really great at testing web applications and try to analyze their approach, get a really good takeaway, and just go ahead and hunt and utilize those skills that you just learned. into your approach. So one of them is Nagli. The guy has awesome write-ups with awesome approach and awesome takeaways out of it. Joko Ak, he pretty much gives his whole methodology and recon away, where the guy usually goes from finding one endpoint on GitHub to pretty much getting remote code execution out of it. The other one is Honoki, and something that I pretty much love from Honoki's blog is that the guy, he always explains the struggle and the problems that he goes either bypassing a WAF, writing an exploit, creating a good payload out of it, or just analyzing the behavior of the web application and realizing that it's vulnerable. And the other one is just learn how to Google. You cannot know everything. And I would say knowing how to Google it's one of the most valuable skills because if you're able to find information by yourself too, that's going to be really great. But also, don't be afraid to ask people questions that they may be good at. Let's say if you cannot find the answer on Google, just take the approach and go ahead and ask somebody else. Give them some time. People they're busy with their lives, but pretty much they're really great. They're really kind, and they'll give you awesome answers as well. The other one, set up a doable goal. So if you want to put some challenge into your journey and you're like, okay, I'm ready to actually get a rank in XYZ program, or I'm ready to get at least one bug a month, either you're a beginner or a good intermediate, setting up a goal will give you the sense of challenge and also at least the will of doing something else. So if you're a beginner, at least try to find one particular vulnerability per month, or learn how to test fully one single particular vulnerability as well. Learn how to choose a program where you can actually feel comfortable hunting with your skills. Some people have success in other programs, other people may not. So try to check it out what's actually your best approach for you. And also set up a time per week where you can actually hack, either it's 10 hours, 5 hours, that depends on you. And honestly, have fun and become playable with web applications. You might be surprised what you can actually do when you give unexpected input into web applications, and that's being playful. If you're intermediate, I would say you may have a nice schedule to hunt. You may find a vulnerability once a week or once every 2 weeks. That depends on how you do it. And one of the best parts is actually going over infrastructure hacking, understanding big scope targets, and getting so familiar with it that actually you become really good at hunting at that program. By my own experience, I would say that most of my bounties have been from one single program, that the scope has been totally huge. And after hunting in that program for over 6 months, you actually have an understanding on the JavaScript files being reused from their programmers from different kind of web applications that they may share the same architecture as well. So it's really cool. And have fun with it. Try to cash out a monthly quote if you can, and at the same time, just have fun with it, definitely. And all of that, you can actually do it just by putting the time and commitment into it. Do not try to expect any kind of results if you are not willing to put action into it. And once again, you can only learn hacking by hacking. So, some of my own failures and some of the progress. So, I tend to spend too much time in CTFs and hack the box, and this is not good because they're not so realistic as scenarios, and they may actually procrastinate to actually going over real web applications. I was spending too much studying theory instead of going over the practice, and I was in denial to collaborate and asking the adequate questions from other people because I was really shy to ask that they may not answer or they may not. And also, out of it, there is a really good article from a really skillful hunter who's Ahmad Halavi, and he gives his experience from having a bunch of duplicates and NAs from becoming the number one in the DoD programming hacker one. So you can actually learn from failures from other people, either it's mine, his, yours, you name it. And take into your approach and actually realize what you're doing wrong. That can be really helpful as well. This was my starting hacker one a year ago. How to forget it? I would say mostly low impact bugs, not applicable, uh, really bad at all. My starting bug route. same, not applicable, trying to understand actually what bug bounties. I had no idea, and I just felt like a champ going on a computer trying to have impact into some programs, and that didn't work out well. And after I would say maybe the third month on going day by day into bug bounties, I started having some kind of results in integrity. I started having, let's say, more understanding about vulnerabilities, web application workflows, different kind of functionalities that they may have, and I had my first account takeover out of it, and it was really nice. I really enjoy it. And after spending, I would say maybe 6 months in integrity, I decided to apply to SINAC, where I actually ended up having way better results and somehow having a monthly quote out of it just out of book bounties. So the message here is that actually it really sucks when you begin. You may not understand so many things, and that's totally normal. You just go with it. But the best part out of it is that you can actually have the chance to learn and not commit those mistakes again. Try to optimize your own time and actually is getting the results that you truly want to. So let's go over some of my findings. So this is an example of actually how you understand the workflow of a web application. This is a broken access control. This was an e-commerce website where sellers, they were allowed to create events for the own sellers, and you needed to be authenticated for it. Every single request that you were giving to the API, you had to be an authenticated user. And I figure out, okay, what happens if you actually take out the authentication cookies and the CSRF token and you are actually trying to get access to tickets for seller events? Unfortunately, this was possible. As you can see here we have a post request to the API trying to request a ticket for the event as an authenticated user. And our server is just giving us a 201, which means that the ticket is being created. Okay, so that's nice. Let's keep digging. After that, just to confirm to actually the ticket has been created without the need of authentication, we can actually see here the ID for the ticket as also the creation date. And you may think, okay, cool, you can use tickets. Okay, so what's the impact? Well, sellers, they have a limited amount of tickets that they can actually sell to host the meetings. And how about if me, as an authenticated user, I can actually just exhaust the amount of tickets and just leave everyone out of the meeting so other sellers cannot host their meetings? That was the impact out of it. And I would say most of that bug was understanding the purpose of the web application as also the functionalities and the workflow out of it, and just trying to find a bug out of it. The next one, and this is one of my favorites. This one was a really nice and playful to have one. This one was an XXE. It was blind XXE. And you may see different kind of things, let's say a contact form or a submitting form or different kind of forms in web application, honestly. And in this point, there was this parameter that I was like, okay, this gotta be it. And that parameter was web.xml. So as you can see right here in the Burp Suite request, we have an encoded, URL encoded XML input using one single parameter. And in the response, we get 200, and actually it's by a script, a redirect. So that means that the web application is accepting XML input in web.xml parameter. That's nice. So let's try a payload. So when I was actually crafting my payload and just trying to figure out how the web application works, I was not getting a redirect by any script anymore. Actually, I was getting the same website explaining that my submission was growing. But the best part is that as it was a blind XXE, because I was not getting any kind of errors, I was not getting any kind of messages or responses. I tried to send a simple HTTP request to my VPS. Unfortunately, it just kicked back and I just got it from the IP of the web server that was hosting the web application, which actually allowed me to confirm the vulnerability. So that's nice. So you can actually start thinking, okay, you have an XXE. It's time to read files. I don't know, maybe look for Gopher and look for remote code execution. But unfortunately, in this case, it was not possible. And one of the reasons why is because it was fully blind. I've tried to do XXE by either error handling, which didn't work out well, trying to read files, and after I would say maybe over 100 tries, it didn't work that well. So, okay, you just have one single petition in your BPS. What's the impact? So, it ended up being a time-based port scanning XXE. So that was the impact. And you may think, okay, how do you realize that it's port scanning? So every single time when I was trying to send an HTTP request to the local host, if the port was open, it will take less than 1 second to obtain a response. If the port was closed, it will take more than 4 seconds to obtain a response. So as you can see here in the image, I'm trying to request port 80 from localhost, and as you can see here in the sublighted in green, it's actually taking more than 4 seconds, meaning that the port is closed. So let's check the other one. Okay, I'm just trying to get port 443 in localhost, and as you can see the timing, it's taking less than 1 second. It's taking 573 milliseconds, which means that the port is open. And thankfully, Synac accepted this bug, even though just trying to increase the impact was a little hard. But this is an example in actually how you can go over a web application which may not seem that is vulnerable. And just trying to look the impact out of it by spending time and looking at the workflow of the web application, the behavior, how long is taking the response to come back, what happens if you actually get a request for the local host, are requests for the local host even allowed? And you may want to make assumptions and start asking questions and put it into action to exploit that bug. So, with the next one, this is a stored XSS, and this was not the type of stored XSS that you actually set up a payload and is being reflected back in the HTTP response. This one was a little bit different. So every single time when you were trying to update your profile picture, and after that you were giving a URL on where your profile picture was being saved. So that URL pretty much can be changed because it was being pointed by the CDN too. So the vulnerable parameter here was user avatar URL. And from there, you can actually change to any kind of URL. Okay, that's nice. Let's continue. So one of the problems that I actually came here when I was trying to put my server to make a picture reflect on my server was that it was not allowing my server to get reflected. And rarely the bypass was actually putting a question mark at the end of the URL of my server and trying to display the picture out of it. And also just changing the URL to my web server, which is hosting a SVG file with an XSS payload in it. And this is the result. Once the user right clicks, view the image, a pop up on the domain appears right there, which means that we have stored cross-site description right there. On recap and last words, it's really good to pretty much recognize some of the unproductive habits that you may have. The other one is that you gotta remember that you actually learn hacking by hacking. It might seem intimidated when you see people in the higher ranks or just people who may be doing better than you. But remember, everybody's brain works in a different way. Some vulnerabilities that I may find, you may not find it. But at the same time, some vulnerabilities that you may find a lot, I might not be even able to find it. And that depends the way how we actually see a web application, on the time, on different kind of things that we put in as inputs as well to see how it behaves and the workflow of it. The other one is remember to connect with people and learn. That's a really good way. I would say most of my approach I have learned from people that I have met over Twitter, Slack, and other places too. I'm really grateful for having them on my journey. And the other one is set a double goal. Set up a challenge for you. You know, you may get frustrated, you may not. That's up to you. And the other one, just take action. Just go ahead and hack and have fun in one program. Any questions?
Hello. Sam, thank you so much for this awesome talk. This was really helpful for almost anyone who is into bug bounty or who is getting started. Failures are actually learning points in their journey, as you said, even the dupes. But action is what makes a difference, right? And to those who are watching this video, Sam is in a different time zone and it is almost 2 a.m. at his place. So such enthusiasm is what makes everyone at our community to push our limits. So appreciate your efforts to deliver this talk. Thank you again, and looking forward to more such awesome sessions from you. Uh, any questions, guys? I guess there are no questions. I guess. Jay, do you see any questions in the YouTube?
Nope.
Okay, no problem. So let's move on with our next amazing talk that is by Somdev Sangwan, who is a security and automation researcher, and he is going to deliver a talk on the topic attacking GraphQL's autocorrect. So you might know Somdev from his a very awesome tools that he has created in his GitHub. There are so many tools that even one of the tools has same name as me. so so I would request Somdev to share his screen and start with his talk. Hello, Somdev. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I'm trying to figure out how to
Oh,
share my
okay.
screen. Yep, just a
Sure,
second.
sure. Take your time. Yeah.
Are you able to see it?
Not yet.
All right, give it a second. It shows shared from my end.
Okay. Jay, can you please move the shared screen? Okay. It's loading. It's visible. Yeah.
All right, and
Right.
I'm audible. Are you
Yes,
guys
yes,
able
you're
to?
audible.
Yeah. All right. So, hello everyone. I hope you guys doing fine. I hope you are staying safe from COVID. Today we are going to talk about an attack vector against GraphQL that I found this year. So, let's start with a little introduction. I'm Somdesh Sangwan. I'm a hacker, and right now I'm working at Red Ant Labs as a security researcher. And in this talk, we are going to talk about four things. Number one, basics of APIs and GraphQL. Second, the actual topic, that is attacking GraphQL's autocorrect feature. Third, why I hate programming. And four, the most important one, how to commit text fraud. So, what is an API? API is an interface provided by a program to let other programs use its functionality. For example, you have a program A that can, let's say, convert IST time to UTC, and then you have another program, program B, okay, and you want to have that same functionality in program B. So you can do two things. You can put program A's code in program B, or you can provide program B a way to interact with program A and use its functionality. So that would be an API. So the most common type of API is a web API that you guys must be familiar with. Let's look at this example. There's this website catinfo.com. It's a fictional website. It's supposed to have information about cats. So in this URL we are requesting the data for a cat breed named Japanese bobtail, and once we request this URL we get this in response. We get information about this particular breed of cat, like the breed's name, country, origin, coat, and pattern, right? That's how APIs work. It's connected to a backend, and now any other app can use this data. So there are several API design styles. Like there's REST, there's SOAP, there's JSON RPC, there's XML RPC, and now there's another guy in town that is GraphQL. Uh, so why do we need GraphQL? So if we go back to the previous example, just suppose that there's a guy who just wants to enter a breed's name and find out what kind of pattern it has. In that case, he won't need all this information, right? This is unnecessary to him, useless for him. uh, Use GraphQL shines here. In GraphQL, what you do, you define a schema. You basically define what kind of data you have. For example, you can define an object named cat. You can define its properties or fields named breed, country, origin, code, and pattern. Then you just document it for your users. You can create a documentation. You can tell your users that we have this kind of data. Then what GraphQL does, it provides the functionality to make specific queries. For example, a user can say, tell me the breed and country of all the cats that have a dotted pattern. This is the power of GraphQL. If you wanted to do this with something like REST without, you know, very specific tweaks, you would get all the data. You wouldn't get specifically the breed and country. This is what's special about GraphQL. This is used in complex applications, not your regular API. Uh, GraphQL basically provides three types of queries, or you can say three types of functionalities. First one is simply query, which is used for querying the data. This is used when you want to fetch some data from the API. You might want to have some information on about a particular object. In that case, you would use the query type. Mutation is basically modifying the existing data. Uh, Modifying can be adding data, editing data, or removing data. That's all mutation. Then there's the third one, which is not used that much. It's subscription. It is usually used for notifying users about events. For example, a user might want to subscribe to an event where he can be notified to price drop for some item that he has in his cart. Like this is not used very much, and when it is used, it is usually deployed over WebSockets. For the sake of simplicity, in this presentation, I'm going to take the query root type as an example. So this is basically how a GraphQL query looks like and its response looks like. You have a field, for example, cats. You provide it arguments. It can be one, it can be none, or it can be more than one. In this case, it's the argument is breed and its value is Japanese bobtail. Then we define subfields, right? In this case, the subfields are country and pattern. We are telling it that from the cat subject, fetch us the data for this breed, and it should give us these fields, these two fields, and it does exactly that. That's the power of GraphQL. I hope you guys understood this, because I'm just just excited to get to the attack part. So in when you don't have access to documentation of a GraphQL API, or you don't have access to the source code, like the schema, the best you can do is get lucky with introspection. It's a feature that lets you look at the schema just by making a query like this. So you make a query like this, and it will spit out all the objects, all the fields that it has. But it's usually disabled for obvious reasons, because it's a security threat if your GraphQL API is not meant to be used by masses. Now let's talk about how it all started, like how I got idea for this particular attack. So in 2019, there's this guy named Patrick Thomas. He's right now working for Netflix. He's a really cool guy, really skilled. Uh, he posted that if you encounter a GraphQL endpoint, you can try to brute force it using some common words. And if your words are similar to the objects in the schema, GraphQL will autocorrect them. For example, if you entered cat and GraphQL schema contains cats, GraphQL will simply tell you, did you mean cats? Just like Google does. Uh, in 2020, Patrick quoted his own tweet and said that maybe someone should create a tool um, that can use a word list to brute force a GraphQL API and scrape all the suggestions from the response. That will be very helpful. And one I took a quick look at it and I thought it's dripping research potential. That are the exact words that I used, and I thought let's give it a try. uh, to give you guys some context, this is how autocorrect looks like. I'm making a query here. I have misspelled it. It's Modia. I'm giving it an argument. It's 56, and there's a subfield called popularity. But this is a misspelling, and GraphQL knows this. So it simply responds with cannot query field Modia on type query. Did you mean media? Right? This is how autocorrect works. Now, what is this attack all about? So let's consider that you want to brute force or four letter combination of alphabets. For example, A, all the way up to Z. In that case, you will need to make this many HTTP requests. And why we are doing this brute force? To find these field names, right? This is what Patrick suggested. Yeah. Now the interesting thing is, if I just enter AG in here, it will autocorrect it to page. I didn't need to, enter a four-letter word. I just entered AG. So it autocorrected a two-letter word to a four-letter word. That is interesting. So that means we can create a two-letter combination a list like A, all the way up to ZZ, and the number of combinations will be just 676. And it will match q. It will match q because let's say there's aq, right? Aq will be auto corrected to q if there is q in the schema. And since this is a list of all the combination of two letters, two alphabets, there will somewhere be id, so it will match id. If the si from this list will match 6, ni will match 9, just like ag matched page. So this is the basic premise of the attack. Right now it sounds very simple, but it gets better, believe me. So what makes GraphQL think that two words are similar? What makes it think that AG is similar to page? What makes it think that? It's edit distance. It's an algorithm that basically tells you how similar two words are. So if you have to define it, edit distance between two strings A and B is the minimum number of operations required to convert string A into string B or vice versa. We will tackle that with an example. That's just the definition. But before that, let's see what an operation is. Adding, replacing, or removing a character counts as an operation. Now, to understand what all this mess is, let's take a look at the example. If we want to calculate the edit distance between head and read, we will need to see what we need to do to convert head to read. In this case, we will just need to replace h with r and it will become read. That's why their edit distance is 1. In case of converting asset to at, we will first need to remove this s, then this s, and then this e. It will just remain a and t. It will become at. Those were three operations. Like we removed three characters, so its edit distance is 3. Now the last one, assets. We need to find the edit distance between assets and reset. So the first thing we will do, we will replace a with r, like to make it reset. We will replace a with r, s with e, so that's two operation. We will leave s as it is, e as it is, t as it is, and we will remove the s. So those will be, there will be three operations as well. So their added distance is 3. So this is the concept of edit distance. The lower the edit distance is, the more similar the words are. So it's not like GraphQL is going to correct your dog to cat, right? It must have some rule key, how much edit distance should be between words to autocorrect them. So I found this line in GraphQL's code base. It's a threshold. So what it does, it takes your input's length, like you have entered a 6 character word, so it will be 6. It multiplies it by 0. 0.4. It rounds it up, like removes the decimal and adds 1 to it. This is kind of confusing, but as an approximation, it's usually about the half of the length of the word. So, for example, if your word is 6 characters long, if your input is 6 characters long, uh, it will get auto corrected if it matches with a field, a valid field, and their added distance is less than 3 characters. The second observation was, this was a big one, multiple field names get corrected. So I can add Modia, I can add Pog, I can add Read. Modia will get auto corrected to media, Pog will get auto corrected to page, Read will get auto corrected to thread, all in one query. So this is very important because when we are trying to enumerate things, we are going to just bombard it with different words or combinations, and this helps because we can send up to 10K words in one request, and all of them will be auto corrected like this. Observation number 3, autocorrect is case insensitive. What that means is you can you know you can use all caps, you can use all lowercase, or you can use random case. It doesn't matter, it will still match in terms of edit distance. For example, we entered this, it matched. GraphQL automatically told us, "Did you mean country of origin?" And that's not actually what I expected, because edit distance is an algorithm which takes case into account, but GraphQL doesn't for some reason. It's a big deal because, for example, if you wanted to brute force with 4 character combinations of all lowercase alphabets, like A, all the way up to Z, the total number of combinations would be this, right? And if we mixed uppercase and lowercase, it becomes 16 times more, this much. But since this is case insensitive, we don't need to do that. We don't need to worry about where will be the capitalization. We don't need to worry about that. We can use any case. So that was the third observation, and a very important one. The fourth one, it's begging to be exploited. Like, it offers so much to the user that it's just there. It wants to be exploited. For example, once you are done with enumerating field names, like you figured out there's a field name named media, you can enumerate their arguments, right? You can also enumerate their types. Is it a string? Does it accept a string? Does it accept a boolean? Does it accept a custom type? Does it accept a integer? Right? Another hilarious thing is one input can match multiple objects. Like if one object matches with certain like multiple entries, all of them will be suggested to you. So that's good for us, good for attackers. So those were the four observations, and the idea was this, that the Thomas suggested: send a lot of strings in a query, they will be autocorrected, scrape the response, repeat the process for arguments and subfields. Easy. But that would be just efficient dictionary based brute force attack. Like, we are not doing anything new, we are doing the same thing but just a little bit faster, right? So it looks like we didn't get anywhere. Well, that sucks. So it was time to reinvent, and time for the idea plus. Uh, to understand this, we will need to go back to this place where we matched a 4 letter word with just 2 letters, like AG matched page. Right? We are going to apply the same principle here. Let's say this is a word list. Our word list contains 6 words. Now I can compress red, head, and lead to ed. Why? Because when I enter ed, it will be auto corrected to red, head, and lead. Meet, sit, met can be compressed to et, because et will match all these 3 words, right? So we can find similar words in the word list, and we can find some common substring or a string that has the lowest added distance, and we can use that instead of those multiple words, and we can use this to shorten our word list. But there is a problem. Like, I just looked at these words and they looked similar to me, and I was able to construct this out of them, right? It's easy. But how do you tell a computer to do that for you? How do you write a program to do that for you? What it means is, we need to create an algorithm that takes n strings as input and outputs m strings, such that every string in set n gives an added distance less than threshold t with at least one string from set m. It's complex. I made it complex just because I wanted to explain it in this way, in human terms. Let's say we have 4 words: ours, yet, your, mate. At a glance, just by looking at it, we can tell that ours and yours are similar. Ours and yours are similar. Yeet and meat are similar, right? And uh, remember what we wanted to do? We wanted to compress them. So we can take out you are out of your and ours. And if we find the added distance between you are and your, it will be 2, because to convert you are into your, we will just need to add y, and then oh, that's 2 steps, so added distance will be 2. Same goes with meat. Et and meat has 2 added distance. Same with et and eat, it has 2 added distance. So that means instead of brute forcing these 4 words, we can just send ur and et. Fair enough? Yeah. Yeah. As I said, the problem is, how do we tell the computer to shorten a list of thousands of words like this? I was stuck on this problem for 6 months. And I'm not kidding. I tried to get into it. Uh, I would just sit on my computer. I would try to solve it. How do I do it? I tried everything, but let's talk about it later. Let's look at this. This is important. So security community has a thing, POC or get the fuck off. Like, if you have a theory in mind, if you think you can do something, but you don't have a POC for it, like you don't have the proof for it, then you can just get the fuck off. There are people who report stuff like clickjacking vulnerability on a web page where it doesn't matter, or your security header is missing, or you are using jQuery, some old version that is vulnerable to some vulnerability that doesn't matter. No one is going to take you seriously. The guy who is receiving the report is going to mark your email as spam, and then they are going to continue with their important stuff, like looking answer for what is the difference between international and domestic violence. They are not going to pay attention to you. So a POC is important. You need to show that what you are trying to say is actually true. So as I said, it took me 6 months to create this POC. First reason was I couldn't find a solution on Stack Overflow, and that's like the first place you go to. I tried to look up how to group similar words. I tried to look up how to group words by added distance. None of them worked. There were algorithms for grouping similar words, but none of them did what I wanted to do. It was never done before. Second, the problem was too hard to translate to code. Like, you have an idea in your head and you want to write a program out of it. For that, you need to tell your computer that first you will do this, second you will do this, third you will do this. But for that, you need clarity in your head. Ki what makes me think these words are similar, right? What makes me think that? And it's so deep inside your head that you can't answer it. And it really frustrated me, because as a programmer, as a security researcher, the clarity in my head is really important to me, right? So I wanted to do it on my own. I didn't seek for help. And yeah, I this gave me existential crisis. I spent too much time on it. I would just get on it, try to write 2 or 3 lines, and then I will get lost in my thoughts, like what I'm going to do next, what I'm going to do next, and it just wouldn't make sense. It clicked to me after 6 months. But we did it. I won, but at what cost? uh, I'm not going to explain the algorithm to you. uh, I can show you guys the code, just to show you how it looks, and maybe give you a quick overview what it does. So the way it works is, let's say you have three your words like cat and dog. So what it does, it first checks key what characters are present on the first position. Like there's C, there's D, then it does the same for the second position, then third position, and it does for thousands of words, because a word list is not going to have just 2 words, right? So it does that. Then it creates a range. It creates a group uh, group of ranges. For example, uh, all right, guys, I think I'm going to skip this one because I don't think people are interested in this. This is too much complicated. You guys can see the code when I upload it today on the GitHub after this talk. So we will leave it at that. Now, this was about brute forcing with a word list, but we know that word list don't provide full coverage. Like there's no way that you are going to have all the words in the world, right? There's no way. So we want to do brute forcing, but brute forcing is hard because brute forcing requires a lot of http requests, because we are trying to brute force so many combinations. This is where phonetic comes to rescue. This is a tool that I wrote back in 2019. It's based on a research paper that I wrote. uh, so basically what it does, if you give it a string, it can tell you if it's a valid English word or it has been randomly generated, like it's gibberish. That's what it does. And when I wrote this tool, I didn't really have much use for it, except finding API keys, because API keys are different from English text. They are like randomly generated, not like English text, basically. So I mentioned it there that it can be used to optimize brute force attacks, and I think no one paid attention to it, and it was still going in my head, and I thought maybe we can use it here. So what it does, just a second. So it's like this. We have a small txt file here, and just a second. I think I changed the code at the last moment. Yep, I did. Sorry, guys, about that. But what it basically does, it will take your brute force list, like it will take your list of combinations, and it will filter out words that are not valid English words that can never exist in English. For example, ZXQY. There's no way that it's going to match a meaningful word, right? So we remove those words with phonetic. So it reduces a 4 letter combinations list from this number to this number. It's approximately 4 times less. With that, we have this new tool. It's called Tide. It's a wordplay on edit. It's the opposite of edit. It's Tide. And it basically works like this. You give it a URL, a GraphQL endpoint, and it does its job. It finds the fields, it finds the args, it finds args types, and just give it a second. Yeah, it gives you a proper schema like this. It's like you got right into their code. It's so fast, it's so efficient, and I'm proud of it. So this tide tool that I've created based on all this research, It's These are its features. Sports get post basic stuff. Post requests have higher limit on data you can send. That means we can enumerate up to 10,000 objects per HTTP request. That is huge. It's built on Arjun's engine. That means it can automatically handle rate limits, errors, stuff like that. It first tries introspection. If a target has introspection enabled, we don't need to brute force it. So it does that. It comes with a dictionary made from parsing 5K graphical schemas. So when I was doing this research, um, I I scraped 5K graphical schemas to pull out field names, argument names, subfield names from them, and I created a word list that will be shipped with Tide. It has four discovery modes. It has your usual dictionary attack that Thomas proposed in the first place. Then it has enhanced dictionary attack that I modified with my algorithm, like shrinking down four-letter words to two, six-letter words to three, stuff like that. Then it has brute force stack, your simple stuff. You send 10,000 queries in one request, expect to get something back. Then there's brute force attack optimized by Phonetic, the software that filters out gibberish. So it has four modes. I have been testing it, and it's been working very well so far. And I believe it will be a game changer in terms of GraphQL's recon enumeration from a black box perspective. And it's it's time for questions.
Hello.
Yep.
Somdev, that was a really interesting question. So interesting session, I mean to say. It was so interesting that I have not even blinked an eye during when you were presenting.
Thanks, dude.
So I'm also interested in that algorithm that you said. So initially, I thought it would be something like at LCS, least common substring, but that grouping issue that you told, it made it actually difficult for me.
Mhm.
I will probably look into that code. So when are you going to publish this to your GitHub?
Today, today
Okay,
itself.
great, great, awesome, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like
So
to have some
yeah.
questions from the audience if they have any.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. So I'm looking at the YouTube chat. So guys, anyone has any questions, please drop them in the YouTube chat, and I that is visible already.
Uh,
So
did I finish early in terms of my time slot? I think so.
no, no, it's perfect, I guess. Let me check.
Hmm. If that's the case, people can ask questions about research if they want.
Yes. Let's. I guess let's wait for 5 minutes. If they are still writing on the chat, we'll wait for a few minutes. If it's visible, we will, and otherwise we will continue with the other session.
Hmm. All right. Thanks, Jay. Thanks for appreciating.
Okay.
How to get better into problem solving via programming. Uh, so the way to get better at problem solving programming is obviously solving problems. Look around you. There are tons of problems waiting to be solved. uh, Whenever this is something that I suggest often to people. Whenever you feel like there's a program that you need and it doesn't exist, create it yourself. That's a great way to practice. That's a great way to invent new stuff. That's a great way to give back to the community. uh, that will ensure that you are actually creating something new instead of reinventing the wheel. And as a hacker, always try to always be on a lookout for interesting behavior. Just like I caught this in a random tweet, and I was intrigued by it. So always look into this kind of stuff and try to solve it. That's my suggestion.
Any other question, guys? This is a golden opportunity to interact with Somdev live, that to live. I guess Somdev, you could keep an eye on chat often. We can start with the session.
All right, makes sense. Fair
All right.
enough.
Thank you so much again.
Yep. Thanks for having me here.
Okay, that was an amazing session from Somdev. Now we are on to our next session, which is going to be conducted by Sarvagya Sagar, who's a self-taught
Hello.
hacker interested in OS90, web, mobile, like the box, everything. Uh, he took the last session on Twitter, and today's his topic is getting started with geolocation. So, really excited for this talk. So, Sarvagya Sagar, I request you to please share your screen.
Am I audible to you?
Sorry.
Am I audible to you?
Yes, audible, perfectly audible.
Okay. Let me share my screen. My screen is visible.
Mm, just it's not visible yet, but I guess Joy will be sharing it from the doc.
Hmm?
It's loading. The Sarvagya, it is a bit lagging, I guess. Hello, Sarvagya, are you there? Can you hear me?
We just lost him.
Okay, let's try to contact him with other means.
Yep.
Meanwhile, other people can post any questions that you want in the chat. We will try to get it answered by the speakers. Sarvagya is facing some internet issues, so please be patient. He'll be back in few minutes.
Now it's visible.
Yes, it's visible, perfectly visible.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So hello to all of you. Today I'm gonna talk about getting started with geolocation. First of all, I'd like to thank Bhasit Bhaiya and Kuldev for giving me this opportunity to talk about ocean in front of you lead. Myself, Sarvagya Sagar, a self-proclaimed small hacker who always eager to learn something new every day. Agenda of this session is getting started in geolocation. I will talk about where to start, how to get into geolocation and what are the key points to get into geolocation. Language of the session is in English, combination of Hindi and English language. Uh, Geolocation. How to find in a Google Earth location correctly, how to replace comma from to dot in the coordinate system. I took this meme from Ask One to Forum. So geolocation. Geolocation is identification of the real world geographic location of any object. The geolocation may refer to the practice of assessing the location or the actual assessed location. This definition is taken from Wikipedia. Uh, you know what? Geolocation plays a hero role in most of the investigation. You can check it out on Bellingcat, case study, Benjamin Stick blog post about geolocation, and also as well as videos. I love videos of Benjamin Stick. You can also check out first draft news case studies and also Twitter thread of Opterix. The name is same. You can learn geolocation by practicing a lot on geolocation quiz time and also GeoGuessr as well as Google Maps. GeoGuessr is also a good platform to pinpoint the location. You are playing games. You can play on one match daily in free version, and there is also a pro version. So here is a seamless promotion, my quiz time repository. If you want to excel your verification and geolocation skills, then this repository is only for you. Repository contains solution of quiz time challenges. I love to solve quiz time challenges. That's why I created this. Uh, let me show you. This is a quiz time repository. You can also contribute in this repository. Okay. Pack your bags. Here are the sets of tools which is very important to, in geolocation. Google Earth Pro. Don't forget to download this. Also, you can also use online version of Google Earth Pro, Google Maps, and Google Earth Pro. Both are friend. OpenStreetMap, a collection collaborative project to create a editable map of the world. I created a lot of scripts with them, with this, and also with the help of Overpass Turbo. Satellite Pro. There are a lot of views and maps in Satellite Pro. Uh, I used in geolocation as well as verification. GeoGuessr, a web-based game where the semi-randomized Google Street View is given, and you have to find the name of place and the location of place. Okay, and they will give you a point on sun calc and moon calc. Both are handy tool that shows a movement of sun. Sunlight path. You can also see the position of sun. You can also calculate the time according to the shadow. Wolfram alpha. Not much useful, but I use this in some scenario, extreme scenario where most of the tools are not working. Snapchat man. Snapchat is very popular application. In a lot of people, most of the people using this, and from this you can view snap posted by users to snap map from all across the world. Emboris building. This is a collection of, or we can also say, Wikipedia of building. So look at these tools. And GIMP ink space type Ura plane. So these are also an useful tools I'm using in investigation or geolocation purpose. Not geolocation, but using in useful tools. Okay. I don't know the so So the first question is where to start. I don't know where to start in geolocation. Okay, start from here. Uh, the first step, you have to walk through all the tools which I was listed in a previous part of this slide. Go and give it a try. At least walk around in map and Google Earth as well as Google Map. Okay. Uh, Also, I recommend everyone to create a GeoGuessr account. The second point is try to understand the structures of buildings, types of trees, landscapes, plains, terrains, hilly areas, languages, the clip of languages, and face of humans. Face of human, I mean, as color of human face and curly hairs. It is explore the world. Uh, Types of traffic lights. mm, and traffic lights, cross signs, different countries, popular vans, number plates of countries, etc. Here is I created a query. Quiz time is also a best place to learn geolocation. Okay, so here is a query. You can use this query to search all the previous or past quizzes of quiz time. Okay. This is just a cloud I created. Explore. The question is explore. What to explore? Okay. So sun. You have to explore sun position, sunrise, sun sets in different hemispheres. Okay. Directions about direction, I mean about compass, north south, east west, northeast northwest, southeast southwest, and northeast northwest, south southeast, and south southwest. These are directions. You can learn from them, learn them. What are the directions we are in? Okay. Hemisphere. So you have to learn about or explore about the hemisphere, southern hemisphere, equator, and also northern hemisphere. Terrains, mountains, landscapes, waterfalls, and greenlands. These are the important parts you have to explore. Types of grasses. You can also explore types of grasses: long grass, short grass, yellow, white, green. Where is the green grass found, or yellow grass found? Where is the long grass found? These useful words. Useful words is also important, and language symbols like loss, ill, and loss in Spanish. These are useful words or usual words. Usual words. Uh, ill mean the होता है and it is used for masculine singular. Okay. Loss means with the it is used for masculine plural, and la means the it is used for masculine singular, feminine singular, and loss is used for in the feminine plural. Okay. Language. So the what to explore in language, clips of language, different types of language, and in a specific country, there is a different writing pattern. Like Chinese uses simplified and traditional uh, writing system of country, left to right, right to left, up to down. The next thing, structure of buildings and houses. There are a lot of houses found in different countries, like chattel house, mobile house, house band, guest harden house found in Holstein, uh, region of Germany and Denmark. Tower house, or we can also say peel house, probably found in England or Scotland, used for a storing purpose or keep purpose. Okay. Uh, Colonial structure of houses, which is probably found in USA, northeast part of USA. Ranch style house is also found in USA, cottage house and bungalow house. There is timbered house found in Germany, and a Koch House, which is found in USA. The next is left side and right side traffic system. There are many countries which are using right hand traffic system, or we can say right side driving system. Okay. Total almost 165 countries using their right hand side traffic system, and 75 countries using LHS, left hand side traffic system. In right hand side, USA, Europe, most of the cases, mostly Europe and all the other countries, and in right and left hand side, India is using left hand side, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka using left hand side the traffic system. Mhm. The next thing we have to explore is structure of roads, highway strip lines, traffic signs. Traffic lights, usual info like billboards, bollards, number of plate, pattern of plate, and front-facing number plate. Is it required front-facing number plates? Uh, Popular car models, popular vehicles, identify police cars. It is. The last thing you have to explore is humans, animals, tree, and flora. Uh, these are the most important we have to explore. I think trees, we have to explore about trees and flora also. This is important. One of the best way to explore things is go and create a geocache and start exploring geocache. Uh, Walk through all different maps. No matter how much you crossed, scored, but at least you will learn something good from that. Just dive into geocache. Okay. This is a exercise we have to do, and we will show you in this session. Okay. So the question of this exercise is um, which hemisphere we are in, which country we are in, direction we are facing towards. I took this image from street view. Street view. So the rule of this exercise is ignore all the places and compass all the hints. We have to focus on the clue inside this hints. Okay, do not look at the hint because you don't learn when you look at the clues. Okay, ignore them. So, how to explore this? How to solve this? So the first step is walk few steps in street view so you can understand better. Okay, let me show you this. Walk few steps. Look around this. Okay, let me show you all the clues there. First, these are clues. The second step is note down all the important clues you will get on that image or location. The taking notes is very important in geolocation, and also search about clues and read about them after few weeks. Stop searching about clues. If you don't know clue, where is this found, then search on Google and identify clues. These are clues. Uh, a flag, a house, a tree, a road, a shadow, and a dish TV. Okay. Now, uh, look at the all flag and look at the all clues. We have a flag. Look at the flag of America. We can say after looking on the pattern, uh, horizontal strip of red alternating with the white, and in upside left have blue rectangle and the stars. We are in America, not. Let's move to the next clue. We confirm that we are in America. Okay. So the next clue is we found the country. Next clue is colonial structure of houses. This is a colonial structure of houses, and there this is a ranch type of houses. Structure of this house is ranch type. So we can say. Colonial and ranch type of houses probably found in the northeast part of USA. You can also check out on Google about this, where is found. Okay. Types of pine tree. The third clue is pine tree there. Pine tree, and here is pine tree. Here is pine tree, and here is pine tree. These are pine tree, and pine tree is found in northern hemisphere. So we confirm that northern hemisphere and also America, USA is in northern hemisphere. Okay, so we did two questions: which hemisphere and which country. Now the third question: direction we are facing towards. Okay, so this is a bit tricky. Look at the car parked in alter direction, alter side of LST. Here is car, alter side of LST. This is parked in uh, right hand side direction. Okay, so we can say the country which we are in is using a right hand side driving system. USA also uses right hand side driving system. We got three clues and we identified USA according to these three clues. Okay. So next thing is we confirmed that we are in the northern hemisphere and the country is USA. Now narrow down all the results. It's time to narrow down the results. So the narrow down. Look at this. Here is a dish TV. Okay, dish TV. The direction confirms that this is facing towards south. Okay, let me tell you about some points or some key points about this TV. TV dishes are universally facing and pointing towards the satellite, which is orbiting above the equator in geostationary orbit. Okay. Uh, Next point about a dish TV is the direction facing. If the dish is facing towards south, then you are probably in the northern hemisphere because equator is in the south direction. Okay, so in this location, we know that we are in northern hemisphere. So the satellite is facing towards south. Okay, something near Texas. This is facing something towards Texas, south of Texas, because there is a satellite in geosynchronous orbit. You can check it out on this Google. Okay. Other important thing is if the dish is facing to upwards, then you are close from equator. Okay. If straight upward, I mean 90-degree perpendicular, then you are on equator. Or if facing down, this, if facing down to the land, then you are far from equator. Okay. This. Now we are in northern hemisphere. Uh, we confirmed that, and yeah, the shadow is the tip of shadow is towards north. Why north? Because this TV is facing towards south, so the opposite direction is north. So the tip of this shadow is facing towards north. Okay, and in northern hemisphere, sun rises in the southeast. So we can say after seeing the length of shadow. Okay, uh, we are in northern hemisphere. The direction of shadow tip is in the northwest probably, because the sun rises in the southeast. Then the shadow of this pole is in the northwest, probably. And from this we can confirm and finalize direction of this is straight south. This is straight south, or we can also say band C. This here, band C here. This is also facing towards south, and after this, we can say this is the place. And the direction of this place is straight south of Texas. Okay, and we can say we are not much. Also, we can say we are not much far from equator. Okay, from this. Uh, okay, let me. Sorry. The last thing is we confirmed that all the clues. Okay, the dish is facing towards straight south. Then here is United States. Here is a Texas, and this is the United States South. And so the dish is facing towards south. I mean, south of Texas. Here is. So the place of this place is Kansas or Oklahoma. Uh, we can say the place is Kansas or Oklahoma, according to these clues. Okay, that's all. And we are straight. So the and then look at the map. Scott City, Kansas. Okay, we confirmed that we are in USA, Kansas City. Okay. According to these clues, without the help of these places and without the help of these hints. Okay. And also we learned about direction, shadows, and our trees, about uh, traffic system, left-hand traffic system or right-hand traffic system, and all as well as distribute the direction of distribute as well as house. And one more thing, in India we also use we southeast southeast direction. The the direction of this TV is southeast in India. Okay. The next thing, here are the map, left hand side and right hand side traffic system. Uh, this is India, and this is USA, which is using right hand traffic system. Okay. Uh, that's all for today. I know you are confused right now how I explained all the things, but the thing is, you have to explore all the things I listed previously in the slide. And so I request everyone to read and explore things. More you explore, more you can narrow down your case. And more you practice, more you become good at geolocation. Geolocation is not much tough. If we spend few days or few weeks or few months on understanding the structures, hemispheres, direction, compass, signs, and symbols, languages, interesting things like this TV, front license plate, etc. Yeah, we can also show here license plates. Okay, uh, like there is no license plate, there is no license plate, there is license plate. Okay, there is no license plate, there is no there is license plate. Uh, there is no license plate. So we can say in United States, list of front license require a front license plate. Okay, the state are as follow. we have to search about Kansas without a front plate. Okay, state without a front plate. Kansas. Okay. Okay, I will write a detailed blog post or will create a GitHub repository and on that, and also I will include almost all the things like images of number plates, road signs, different traffic signs, languages, the clip of languages, the structure of buildings, etc. Um, it's time to say goodbye to all of you. I hope you learned something good. I will meet in upcoming session. Thanks for listening. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you so much, Sarvagesh Sagar. I would have never imagined there is so much information that could be inferred from this Google Maps. So this was really, really amazing. We have all enjoyed it very much, and thank you for this session.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, guys, is there any
Uh,
question that you want to ask in the YouTube chat? You can post it, or we are otherwise also having this Ask Me Anything session. So, drop your or fire your questions in the YouTube chat.
So we have everyone on Steam now.
Yeah.
I think there is no
So
question.
we have, I guess, few questions in the YouTube chat now.
Okay. Check it out.
Okay, it's for AMA. So Sarvag, actually, I have one question. Like,
Okay.
how did you
Mhm.
start looking for such things? How did you even get an idea like that? Such details from map can be used for such purposes.
Bro, the thing is, you have to start the things around. You can also search on Google about things like the I showed here. United States. Okay, this country driving left hand side and right hand side, and there are a
Hmm.
lot of countries you can explore these. Okay, and the key points are there. Let me show you the things they did. Here is a wiki which helps me a lot. There are a lot of resources found in this wiki. You can check it
Okay.
out here. Okay, where is wiki? This. Hmm. These are help. Read it. Okay. There are a
Okay.
lot of resources. There are a lot of resources. Almost all the resources here, present here, like a world theme, the world region. Also, I'm not included about language, how to identify language. I will in upcoming sessions, and there are a lot of things which we'll talk about, like face and curve of human faces, also curly hair.
Uh-huh.
The screen of humans, as well as
Oh,
I will also tell about boat types of boats and structure of boats. It is, and also I will tell
thank you
about
so much.
trees and flora.
Uh-huh.
So the thing is, start exploring. Look look at all the things which we got in this image. Okay, and also अगर तुम देखोगे तो यहाँ पे these trees are leaves of trees are falling. Okay, and the leaves of these trees are yellow. Okay,
Yes, yes.
so we can sure the season of this is something like end of winter or winter.
Okay. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this information. Okay, Sarvagya, so I
So
think Sid Joshi has a question for you. He's asking that is image accept data can help to
so
geolocate the
that's
image?
that's useful, but in most of the cases, geolocation exit data is used in verification of geolocation. Okay, geolocation is pinpointing any image, pinpointing any image or direction. Okay, so the exit data is used for verification. Okay. That's all for today. Is there any question?
I think there are no questions regarding this specific session. So let's move to the AMS session, guys.
Can I stop sharing my screen?
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, yes, you
Okay,
can.
okay.
So I think Sid Joshi has a question related to Somdev's talk. So he's asking something regarding this edit distance thing. So Somdev, can you please take a look at it? You have to scroll
Yep.
few messages up.
I already read it. I already read it. So the thing is, I talked about a rule that edit distance need to be the half of the word, right? So it's
Yes.
going to match the C, but it's not going to match C's because that's like 5 words, and you are using a two-letter word as an argument, as an input. So that's not going to match. And there was another question. In hacking, many people, including me, get stuck at beginner stuffs like CSRF, IDO, XSS, etc. My question is how to get started into advanced stuffs. So this is a generic question. This is not about my session or anyone else's session. So I would uh, like to discuss it with you guys. Uh, all right, I guess I will answer it then. Okay, so this is interesting because I was talking to a friend yesterday. He's an artist. He makes drawings for a living, and we were talking about why mediocrity is such an issue, especially in India. People are not reaching their full potential. They are not reaching that quality, the top cream thing that we say, that they are the top. They're not reaching there. Just how, as you said, that a lot of people get stuck at the beginner stuff. They don't get into advanced stuff. So one reason that I have seen is people get comfortable in their zone. For example, if they get a job and they need to perform given set of things, and they are getting paid for it, why learn new things? There's no need to learn new things. You are getting paid, you have a decent job. Why would you learn new things? That's
Exactly.
one blockage that I've seen in many people. They just get very comfortable, or they need a reason to learn things. If I learn this, will I be able to get more bugs? If I learn this, will I be able to get a better job? They associate learning with this kind of progress. So I will suggest you to, as I always say, make sure you spend at least 1 hour learning new things every day. And as my mother says, when you learn something, you make use for it. You can make use for it now, or it will come in handy an year after it. So that value is never lost. If you are learning, for example, a simple thing such as SQL, you might find SQL injection endpoint where your regular cheat sheets or your tools are not going to help you. You will need to get your hands dirty with the syntax. You might need to escape a WAF, right? So make sure you learn new stuff. Don't bound yourself with what you feel comfortable in. Sorry about that, guys. I had to go for a sec.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
that's pretty much it. Don't think that when you learn something, it's to enhance your career. No, you want to learn something because you are a hacker. That's what you do. You learn new cool stuff. You abuse it in new ways. Make it your inspiration.
I feel like these days people are learning just to get more works and more bounties, basically.
Yep.
And maybe that's why they are more focused about web and mobile pen testing basically.
Yep. True. There was a talk delivered by there's a guy named Amir. You might have heard of him. He
Yes, sir.
presented it at NullCon. It was about research, doing research. So he was talking about how people spend months digging into just some source code, some obscure app, and then they come up with new findings. You need to have that kind of uh, passion.
Yes, exactly. Even like when I hunt for things, so like I think that these what things I'm looking for are not even like found by me. So that
Mhm.
feels really like what do we say? It really doesn't feel good. Like I'm basically hunting for other people's research.
True. And that's one thing that I think inspires a lot of people to be better. I talked about this before once. Like if you are a doctor, you got your job, you are doing your job, you will
Hmm.
have no problems in your career. Like you are not going to think that someone created a medicine, someone created a cure, you are not going to be affected by it. But if you are a
Yes,
hacker and
exactly.
you go on Twitter, you go on your whatever community you prefer, and you see these people doing awesome things, start feeling inferior,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Why can't I be like them? Isn't uh, why isn't this why am I not you get the point, like why I'm
Yes,
not
basically
like
that
them.
that inspires, that basically gives you inspiration to do new stuff, which you are not already doing.
Yep.
So this your cool man is asking, would you like to describe your 6 months journey on how you tackle the problem?
Yeah, so dude, it was not like I was getting working on this every day. Like I was going through burnout, I was kind of depressed, and as I said, this problem was so tough. It's like
So,
imagining what was before the Big Bang. I'm just giving you an example. When you start thinking about it, your brain reaches a state where it stops processing. So if
yes,
when you have a
exactly.
problem this tough, when you are trying to translate your thoughts into a program, it just hangs in there. It doesn't know what it needs to do.
Yes,
How do you tell a program that I want you to find similar words? What do you tell it to do? So that's the thing. I was getting stuck repeatedly,
it's
and
like you know what to do, but you can't describe it to someone.
yeah. So I started doing other stuff, and working on the same problem for long can make you blind to other answers. It's
Yes,
like playing a
actually.
video game. When you keep dying, uh, it gets in your head. It becomes
Yes,
a habit.
exactly.
You keep dying at the same place, and when you retry the next day, you make it alive in the first try. It's like that.
It's
So
happened many
if you are
times.
stuck, do other stuff. Maybe you will get inspiration from it. That's what I would suggest. Someday, what's your approach when you? Uh, okay, I'm not sure what Sid is trying to ask. Research about the vulnerability that you haven't heard about. You simply Google. Okay, do you mean I reading about a vulnerability? Okay, this cross check thing, that's a valid question, and I always talk about this whenever I'm in an interview or just people asking stuff on Twitter. That you should read about the same topic from at least five different authors. That gives you all of their perspectives. When you read it from one author, you are limited to his views, what his experiences are. But when you learn it from different authors, you can make sure that you are not missing out on information. And even if one author is wrong, and then you can easily figure it out that these four people are saying something else and this one guy is saying something else. At least that gives you a hint that maybe I should look deeper into it.
Yes,
So
definitely.
always use multiple sources.
Guys, you can drop your questions in the YouTube chat.
Yep. And those questions don't need to be about for me. We have a great panel here. Like, you can ask
Yes,
anyone,
you
anything.
can ask literally everyone.
Someone is asking what's the next session. So
Oh,
there
actually,
is no
there
session
are no
lined up for
sessions.
today. Yeah,
So basically, this was the last session. Actually, this was an unplanned session. We just came up with during the meet.
yeah.
I think we will just wait for 12:45 and then wrap up.
All right. There is
If
another
no one is
question. Who
having,
wants to take it? Who wants to take it?
yes, what will
What
be
will be the
the
starting
starting?
approach for bug hunting? Some tips, please. I'm not the expert of bug hunting, so someone else.
So, what I'll suggest is do not look for generic bugs like access. There are accesses, then there are SQL injections, and not that kind of stuff. But look for other advanced stuff like there are prototype pollution, there is web cache poisoning, then HTTP request smuggling. So that kind of stuff, that those extreme kind of technical stuff is no one is actually looking for them. There are people who look for them, but not everyone looks for them. And these bugs like there are IDOS and all that. So everyone who is a beginner in bug bounty or bug hunting will look for them. So it's like that. So what I'll suggest is to look for learn more technical bugs and hunt for them.
Okay. Yo Cool Man is asking how often do you face a block while creating a tool? So there are two kind of tools. Ones that are based on research that other people have already done. For example, if you want to create a tool that looks for SSRF, or you want to create a tool that basically connects to FTP ports and checks for default credentials or anonymous login or whatever that is, the work is already done for you. Someone has created FTP protocol, someone has defined how to connect to it, right? The work is all done. You just need to get it done. In those cases, I don't think much people face roadblocks. uh, if they have already some experience with programming languages. Beginners might face it, but Stack Overflow is always there to help. Roadblocks are often faced when it's based on research, like the example I just gave you guys, that I was stuck on it for 6 months, because you can't use a reference because it has not been done before. Where will you seek help from? Right? There's no book that will tell you how to do this. uh, in those kind of cases, you face roadblocks, and in general, everyone gets depressed. Goes through a bad phase every now and then. No really, one silver bullet way to go about this, that there's this one way that will work for everyone. No, no, there's nothing like that. I will just say that acknowledge yourself that you are tired. Acknowledge that you are tired. uh, if you have been victim of a tragedy, accept that you have been a victim, because some people still live in denial that uh, I'm the one who caused it, I'm the one who's at fault. Life is too short for all that, man. Just accept that I fucked up and move on. uh, that's what I would suggest about being depressed about a trauma. How to balance between learning and hands-on practice. uh, okay, that's a nice question. It's really weird. Sometimes you learn a concept and you try to do it in a controlled environment. You might download a lab from GitHub or somewhere else, or you might even join a platform, and they will tell you that there's accesses in this input box and you have to find it. What's there? Like, there's accesses. The real challenge is when you don't know what to look for and you need to use your head. So I often Okay, this is a generic question, not specific about web apps. But if it's specific about web apps, you can use a website. It's called Hack Yourself First, and it has 50 bugs. And it looks like a simple website. It doesn't give you any clues where those bugs are. You have to find them yourself, and you just tick them off. कि, ये मिल गया, वो मिल गया, and complete a list. That challenges you way more than these labs do. uh, about practice, I know it gets really hard. Sometimes you learn a topic and in your head you're like, all right, I got this, now let's move on to the next part. So what I've found to be helpful is that, especially in case of programming languages, is that not to learn anything for more than an hour. Let your brain recharge, let your brain take it in. It's not like you are going to sit on your computer for 12 hours and you are going to learn the entire thing. Your
Yes,
head is not
exactly.
going to process that. Take breaks, practice, and good luck. Okay, top 5 best tools. uh, I don't think that adds any value to the discussion.
First
No, it,
might be
it
the
doesn't.
buzzfeed.
Oh, okay. I thought he's talking about my favorite tools, like from my tools. Okay. From all the tools, obviously Bubsuit. There's Nmap. You can't live without Nmap. I would call Python a tool because it helps me automate stuff. Then Linux. Why not? And Sublime Text. That's all I need. You can pretty much build anything with this.
Yes, exactly. Also, Bob helps a lot while researching for these various topics. Like if I do if I research some topic in regarding open source intelligence, and there is some website that I want to know that how do I get more stuff out of it. So
Mhm.
so Bob really helps in that.
Yep. They have
Usually I
also
was
created an API now, I think. So you can integrate it with your own workflow.
yes,
And the
that
good
also
thing
can be done.
about creating, yeah, please go ahead.
No, no, I was just listening to you. The good thing
Yeah, I
about
was
what?
just saying that the good thing about creating your own stuff is that you know its weak points, you know its strengths, you know when it's going to fail, in what cases it's going to fail. So you can cover some stuff with automation, and you can handle the rest with uh, your manual testing. So that
Yes,
helps.
exactly.
Try to create your own tools. I think we have reached the saturation point. I don't
Yes, it's
see
46.
any other questions coming up.
If in case anyone has other questions, they can reply on our Null channel's official Twitter handle, and we will try to reply there. Okay. So I guess we should wrap up now. What do you say,
Yes, I
Kuldeep?
think that was it. Yes,
It
we
was
can
an
wrap up.
amazing session. I really enjoyed it today.
Yes, exactly. Like now I'm getting all the messages from people saying that hey man, somebody's gave a really nice session. It was really helpful.
Yeah,
They are, they are not commenting on YouTube, but I'm getting texts from them in WhatsApp.
yeah, amazing, great.
Yes, it was super interactive today.
We don't usually see this many people live, but I guess due to this AMA session, it was really helpful.
Yes, really.
We should
Maybe
do it
this
more often.
AMA session. Maybe this AMA session was the most interactive one.
Yes, yes, correct,
Yes.
correct. So this is a new idea that Somdev gave us. Thank you
Yes,
for
actually, I
that
was
too.
thinking about this when Somdev asked about the AMA. I was thinking
Okay,
about this that we should do it more often.
yeah,
Okay, guys, I am ending this stream now, live streaming.
okay.
Okay,
Thank
guys.
you guys for
All
joining.
right, guys. Have a nice day.
Yes, see you all
You.
next
Stay
Same
month.
to you,
safe.
everyone. See you next month. Yeah.